AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
How will the weather fare over Labor Day weekend? Here's our Agri-weather outlook.
I wouldn't be quite ready to put a fork into summer yet, although this 2-week outlook is entirely contained within the month of September. The first half of September is looking fairly warm across the northern plains, definitely some above average days temperature-wise. The rainstorms are mostly going to be moving into other parts of the country. It looks fairly dry, northern plains, upper Midwest, southern Canada. And in an interesting development, what was expected to be a very active hurricane season, now during the first half of the month of September, there may not be any tropical storms to speak of at all in the Atlantic basin, so keep an eye on that. Jet stream this week pretty far north, allowing some warm to hot temperatures to spread northward into the northern plains. Some of this will be 90s, some of it near 90s, some of it upper 80s, and some of the orange stuff will be anywhere from the upper 70s to the middle 80s, warmer than average for September weather over most of the central United States, over most of the western United States. Interestingly enough, most of the eastern seaboard and the southeastern states, although the temperatures will be warm, 80s, even a few 90s, it'll be cooler than average across this area, while the heat is concentrated out of the Rockies and the western states where, frankly, there just hadn't been anything to cool down what's been a searingly hot summer. But ridging in the jet stream will allow this warm and hot weather, 70s, 80s, and 90s, to spread across southern Canada, the northern plains, and very likely stick around this week. The only cool weather will be associated with this troughing in the eastern Maritimes. Their temperatures will be cooler than average. And the far north is starting to see some seasonally cool weather, just not seeing that first real push of September weather. For the second week, still looks warmer than average. I'm not suggesting it's going to be in the 90s every day throughout this area, but I think a lot of 80s and 90s south of the border anyway. The cool weather will begin to drop southward, but I don't see any freezing weather anywhere the first 2 weeks of September, except way up around Hudson Bay. Precipitation-wise, the showers and storms are mostly going to be concentrated from Texas across to the southeastern states. Looks fairly dry from the northern plains through the Great Lakes into southern Canada up to the James Bay, Hudson Bay area. And the Pacific Northwest will be quite rainy, mostly from coastal Washington up into southern Alaska. These areas that I've marked as nothing, I'm not saying there won't be any rain, I just don't see anything out of the ordinary. The typical late summer, early fall, scattered showers and thunderstorms. And for the next 2 weeks, the pattern is not moving much. The Great Lakes, northern plains, for the start of September, looks mostly dry.